In lesson 3, you have 4 tasks. I'm not going to go over each of those tasks because by now you should know how to at least do the first 2. First one is creating and naming your project file and sharing that with me. The second one is watching this video and taking the lesson quiz. The third one is solving a series of challenges, and the fourth one is the discussion. What I am going to go over with you is all the information you need to be able to solve the challenges. This lesson has to do with variables. You can think of variables as like a virtual space, like a box, an empty box, but then you put stuff in that box. So a variable is a box that has a specific object in it. So each variable has a unique name that you assign to that variable in addition to the object that it's holding. So how do you create a variable? I've created 3 variables, the variable x, y, and z. And you can name your variable whatever you want. My variable x, the name is x, and the object that it's holding is the number 10. The same thing for y. Y is also holding 10. Z is holding a different object, the number 5. While the names should be unique, the object does not need to be unique. As you can see, x and y are holding the same object. So if I were to run this program, of course, you're not going to get anything because it has not instructed the computer to print out an output. We can check to see if the code did execute, meaning that the assignment of objects to the variable happened. So I can go in my right screen here, output screen, and just say print x, and I should see 10 return. Exactly. Print y, I should see 10 as well. Print z, I should see 5. These variables have been assigned a specific object. Now you can't have a variable unless you assign it to something. You can't just create a variable, say score. If I did that and I run this, the computer is going to be confused because it doesn't know what score is. I have not defined it as a variable. But now if I go back in and I say score is equal to x, and I run it and I say print score, I'm going to get an output of 10. Why? Because it's equal to x and x is 10. You can include the print function in the middle screen. So I could say print x, print y, print z, print score. And when I run this, I should see all those outputs. 10, 10, 5, and 10. Another way I could do this is just say print x, y, z, score. And if I run it, I'm going to get 10, 10, 5 listed first for these 4, and then all of them in one line, 10, 10, 5, 10. So in addition to just storing values, you can also use variables to do simple calculations. Suppose I want to change the value of x by adding some other value to it. First, we're going to store the value of x. So we're going to create a new variable, old underscore x is equal to x. So this new variable called old x will become the old value of x. And then I will say x is equal to x plus z. Hit return. Print old x and x. Print both of those values together. In order to print the 2 variables together, they are both contained within parentheses, separated by a comma. So let's go ahead and run this. So there you go. The last print gives an old value of x. Old x is 10, and then the new x is 15. I could change x completely. I could say x is equal to 2. So I'm going to say y is equal to x times 3. Let's print y. Run. So y is 6. There it is. X is 2. Y is 2 times 3, which is 6. So what I've shown you so far are variables with number of values assigned to them. We can assign the same value to different variables. Each variable has a unique name. We can store the object from one variable into a new variable. We can change the object stored in a variable. We could do mathematical calculations, and we can print the value of the variable. Now let's create variables that don't store numbers, but what we call strings. Strings are essentially words or sentences, and string uses letters and other characters. Let's look at strings. Let's create the variable name, and the string is going to be someone's name. So let's say David. Now what you would notice the difference between a string variable and a number variable is that the string has to be contained within quotes. So let's run this. Notice that the name of the variable doesn't need to be in quote. The string has to be. The string is David. So let's run it and see. So there you go. Now let's create a new variable called greeting. And let's create another variable called message. So you notice we're using sort of a mathematical formula here. And let's go ahead and print message and run it. David, good morning. What you will notice here is that David and good morning are kind of smushed together. I'm going to delete this. I want to say good morning, David. Let's run it again. Good morning, David. Morning and David are squished together. It means that there is a space missing right after good morning here. Let's put a space in there and run. Now it looks good. Let's move on to a third thing. Create a variable that is changed by the user. Rather than specifying what name is, we're going to use this input function. So name is equal to input, open parentheses. This time I'm going to use single quotes. You can use double quotes, but I just want to show you can use single quotes for string. We're using this input function. You can see it right here. And notice that all the functions are color-coded. So in mine, they're purple. The strings are also color-coded. In mine, they're red. So let's run it and see. So what is your name? My name is John. Hit enter. Good morning, John. Sometimes you want the user's response to come under the question. Follow the input by a return. And the return symbol is this backslash followed by an N. So if we run this again, the cursor drops under the question. And this time I'm going to say my name is Tommy. Good morning, Tommy. If we like, we can put a return character in the front. It has to be within the quotes. So that return character, what it's done is it's put a space between good morning, David, and what is your name. The last thing I'm going to show you is how to create your own function in Python. So the function I want to create is a very simple function just to calculate your age. So how do you calculate your age? You take the current year and you subtract your birth year from it. So what I've added here, this function calculates the user's age as age equals 2022 minus birth year, 2022 being the current year. The first step in creating a function is define the function. We begin on the first line of code for that function as def, meaning define. And we're going to call this function age, and it's going to be dependent on one variable, and we're going to call that variable a. And we're going to hit return. You have to put in this colon after the first line of the function's code. It will indent the next line. So the next line, we could say issue return. That means to report space 2022 minus a. End with a semicolon. So that's the end of the function's code. Hit return and then remove the indentation. Now we can call up that function and use it in our code. Birth underscore year is equal to input. I'm going to put a return character there. What is your year of birth? And I'm going to put a return character there as well. Turn. Now I'm going to calculate the age. Age equal, and I'm going to call up that function. Remember the function was called age. Now our A will be the birth year. Print and output. Your age is, comma, age. So there we go. Now I'm going to run this and it's going to give an error, but it's important for you to see this error and understand how to avoid it. Okay, so I've cleared the screen. Let's run our function. The previous code is still running. I'll just fill those in. So I'm going to call myself, this time Daniel. Morning, Daniel. What is your year of birth? 1965. Hit return, and there's the error. You cannot use a string variable in a calculation. We're doing a calculation right here. We're taking 2022 and we're subtracting 1965. However, this 1965 is not being read as a numeric value. It's being read as a string because all input are by default string. So what we have to do is to convert the birth year, which is the input, into an integer. So before we do the calculation here, with age, come in and say birth year equal integer of birth year. So all that doing is it's taking the birth year in its original form, which is string, and it's changing it into an integer. So let's run it and see. Daniel, birth year 1965. Enter. There you go, 57. Before I closed out, I wanted to go over how I want you to do task 3. In task 3, you're going to have 3 examples of simple Python program, and I want you to figure out what each line of code is doing. Here are the code. So there's example 1, example 2, and example 3. I'm going to copy all of this, so go ahead and highlight all of this, Control C, and take it into your Replit and paste it, Control V. You can see that example 1 begins on line 1, example 2 line 6, example 3 line 15. Run the code. It's going to ask you for your name. I'll call myself Paul. Hit enter. So the first code is up here. The second code is here. Last code is down here. So the last code requires you to input something. So what is your radius? Let's say 6. Hit return. So now you have all of your output there. What do I want you to do? For this first example code, I'm going to hit return. I'm going to put in a hashtag symbol. And remember, the hashtag is going to silence anything written after it. So my explanation could be, first line is a comment that starts with a hashtag and is therefore not read by the computer. The second line defines the variable name using the user's input. The third line defines the variable message as, and then just continue until you get through all the lines of the code. Once you're done with that, you're going to come down to the second code and you're going to do the same thing. Start with a hashtag and then write your explanation. When you're done with that, come down to the last, put in your hashtag, and write your explanation. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And that's it.